Hey guys, so today we're going to be doing a really simple, glowy, bronzy summer look, and I'm going to start by priming my face. I'm just using the Makeup Forever Skin One Equalizer in the Smoothing Primer. And I'm just working that into my skin. And now I'm just going to take MAC's Painterly Paint Pot and prime my eyes, taking a decent amount of the product and working it all the way from the lid up underneath my brow. And I'm just making sure I'm using a good amount of this to cover any redness and veins that I may have on my eyelids. Now I'm just going to take the BH Cosmetics Carli Bybel palette, and I'm just going to use the really neutral tan shade in that palette to set the paint pot. So we're going to be using the Lorac Mega Pro 2 palette today to do this look, and I'm going to start with this shade called Tawny. It's just a very warm transition shade, kind of a beigey tan brown, but very warm in tone. And I am just going to apply that from the outer corner to the inner corner of my upper crease, and I'm just going to do windshield wiper motions and then use little circular motions all around the edges to make sure I have a smooth line. Now we're going to go in with a slightly more neutral shade, a couple shades darker as well, and I'm just going to use a more precise rectangular shaped brush to apply that to the outer corner of my eye and kind of drag it out in a wing shape and then buff it in slowly. And then I just, as always, go back in with the first brush I use with no additional product and just buff everything together. Now we're going to take this beautiful bronze shade called Penny in the palette, and I'm going to use my MAC 242 to apply that all over my lid. So now I'm just going to take a little bit more of that Burlap shade and just kind of buff in between where the lid and the other shades were, just to make sure it's a very smooth transition between the two shades. Then again, I just took the big fluffy brush with no additional product this time and just buffed out again any of the lines, or, you want to make sure you have a smooth gradient. So now I am just taking a gold shade in the palette that I'll show you in a minute. I forgot to show it first, but I will show you guys when I'm done putting it on. It's called Gold Leaf, and I just applied that to the first, inner third of my lid space just to kind of brighten up and make my eyes look bigger. And then I just went back in with that Penny shade and just reapplied it a little bit on the outer corner and kind of made sure I blended it in well to the gold shade where the two shades met on my eyelid. So now I'm taking a much smaller detailing brush and I'm picking up dark Sienna. It's just a really dark brown, kind of like a much darker bronze shade. And I just put that on my outer V of my lid just to darken it up and add a little bit of dimension. And then of course went back in and buffed it out again. So now I'm going to take my Anastasia brow gel, clear brow gel, and I'm just going to apply that and set my brows. I always do this before I actually fill them in just to give the gel a minute to dry. So now I am taking my Elcie Microsilque foundation in a beauty blender, and I am just going to buff this into my skin. I'm also going to use the beauty blender to clean up the shape of our eye look and make it a little bit more of a defined cat eye shape. And as always, I take the back of the beauty blender once I have my foundation applied, and I just go around the surface of my skin and just kind of pick up any excess foundation that may be sitting on top. Kind of helps avoid any kind of cake face. So I'm going to take my Urban Decay Naked Weightless Concealer, and I'm going to conceal my under eyes. Again, using this to really clean up that eye shape and make it really defined. And I'm going to put that around the corners of my nose because I get a lot of redness there, my chin, and my forehead. And take my Beauty Blender one more time and just blend that all out. Nothing new here. So now I'm going to take my Laura Mercier translucent powder, and I am just going to pick up my damp Beauty Blender, scoop up a little bit of the powder, and use it to set my under eyes. I'm also going to use it to set my entire T-zone. So now I'm going to go in with my MAC Studio Fix foundation, and I am just going to take a big fluffy face brush and just kind of put that everywhere, all over the top of the foundation, and mostly focusing it on where we didn't put the Laura Mercier translucent powder. And I do this for a little bit of extra coverage, as well as it makes it a lot easier to blend out like your contour and your bronzer if you have a powder on top of your liquid or cream foundation. So I just took the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit, took one of the warmer shades, and just kind of took a flat top brush, and I'm just bronzing my cheeks, the sides of my forehead, basically just anywhere where if you had a tan, you would be tan. So anywhere the sun would naturally hit. I'm going to take the cooler shade in the palette and a slightly more precise angled brush, and I'm going to do my contour. I changed up my contour a little bit. Instead of just doing it on either side of my forehead, I actually have started to put it in my, what is that called? In my temples. Whew. Yeah, come on, Chelsey. Yeah, in my temples. It just kind of helps make my face look a little bit less round. So now I'm just using my Anastasia Brow Wiz in taupe and just filling in my brows. I always cut this out of my videos because it's so like tedious and long. But since this was a voiceover video and I could kind of, you know, cut out one of the eyebrows and not make you guys sit through like 10 minutes of eyebrows, I decided to leave one of them in so you guys could see the general idea of how I fill in my brows. Pretty basic. You know, I kind of keep it the most dark at the bottom of the brow and kind of fade it up. And just really kind of define the shape a little bit. I have very thin eyebrows, so it's a tedious thing. And then, of course, I take the spoolie and I just run through my brows just to set the shape and also to work any product through that might kind of have been like stuck in one spot. So now I'm going to take MAC Studio Fix concealer, and I'm just going to do a very, very, very thin line under my brow and a very thin one above my brow to kind of clean up and make sure that, you know, I don't have anything that kind of is out of place. It's kind of a foolproof way of making sure your brows look nice. And then I just kind of use my finger to blend it out, any of the harshness. You don't want to have like a harsh concealer line. So then I just took the Carli Bybel palette and I took the golden highlight shade at the bottom of the palette to highlight underneath the arc of my brow. And I'm also going to use it to highlight the inner corner of my eye. One more time in with the big fluffy brush, no additional product, just to, you know, run over it one more time. So now I'm just using my clear brow gel from Anastasia and setting everything. So I'm going to take that really warm bronzy shade in the palette. It's technically a highlighter, but I'm kind of fair, so I'm going to actually use it as like a bronzy kind of blush. So I'm just applying it the way I would always apply brush, kind of bringing it back towards my temple, and then any excess product that's left on the brush, I kind of swirl it onto the apples of my cheeks. Then I took the gold highlighting shade that was next to it that we used for the arc of our brow and hit above my eyebrows and just a little bit on the tops of my cheekbones. And I'm also taking a pencil brush now and running it down the center of my nose, and then I will put a little dot at the end of my nose in kind of like an exclamation point. And then, of course, my Cupid's bow. So now I'm going to take Anastasia's Stripped Liquid Lipstick. This is a beautiful nude. I'm obsessed with all of the nudes that they just put out. I'm pretty sure I think I bought all of them because I love them all. They're gorgeous. You can't go wrong with Anastasia nudes. They do the best nudes. And they make sure they really cater to like every skin tone and undertone. That's why I like them so much, because you would think a nude is a nude, but it really isn't. There's a lot that goes into it to make it match all kinds of different people's undertones. So now we're going to work on our under eyes, and I'm going to use this matte shade in the palette called Saddle. It's called Saddle. It's like a dark brown, kind of neutral brown, dark brown. And I am just going to use a flat definer brush to run that very tightly along my lower lash line. I'm going to use a pencil brush now and pick up that Burlap shade and just buff out my lower lash line. And that's it for the lower lash line. Now I'm just curling my lashes. And I am going to take that gold highlighter once again from the Carli Bybel palette, take some on my finger, and I'm going to press it in the center of my lips. This just kind of is nice for the summer or the spring. It just makes you look like very fresh and glowy, and it also makes your lips look bigger. So now I am just taking Kat Von D tattoo liner pen, and I'm not making a wing or anything. I'm keeping it super, super tight to my lash line. Really, the purpose of this is just to make my lash line look a little bit darker and fuller, and to also help hide the band of the false lashes that we're going to put on. So now I'm going to go in with Benefit's They're Real Mascara, and I'm just going to apply this to my upper and bottom lashes. So now I'm going to take Lilly Lashes in Goddess, and I am going to apply those. I left some of this footage in as well, because again, I usually cut this out, but I left a little bit of it in. I'll do a more like, today I kind of just like threw them on and, you know, kind of went with it. I'll do a more like precise one, tutorial, on eyelashes for you guys, where I'm like really zoomed up and you can really see what I'm doing, if you guys are interested in that. So let me know if you are. So now, just once more, I'm going to take that Kat Von D tattoo liner and just run over the band of my lashes, just to make sure it's nice and dark, and to make sure that there isn't any glue or anything on there that can be seen. It's just a nice foolproof way of making sure that your lash band is nice and dark. So now I'm just using Urban Decay Chill Setting Spray, setting everything, and that's it. That's all there is to it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!